I think I sounded sexier last time.
Hello, welcome. This is your host, Itza from Itza Party.
And this is your host, Sule from Sule's Bakery.
And welcome to
Built from Scratch
Podcast. All right, so today we want to talk about why we started the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hit that topic. We're going to hit
how we came up with the name.
And who we are.
Yeah, and who we are.
Those are the three topics we're going to try to hit today. Hopefully we do. If we go off topic and, off track.
Yeah, sorry. This is we're new.
And we're learning.
We promise we're going to get better, but know that we do this with such love and dedication.
I wish we would record ourselves when we're at home talking, because that is
it's so natural.
And then we come here and we're like, ah!
Okay, so Itza, I want you to tell us how we thought of the podcast, because every time we tell that story, I love how you say it.
Okay. It all started. No, I'm just kidding. It started
Once upon a time.
So I was doing a photo shoot here at the studio. This is a public studio. We're not going to tell you guys where it's at, because then you guys are going to want to come
book
it out and just get all hater vibes. No, but it's a free studio. And I did my 6K giveaway photo shoot here, and when I came to book it, I was all chismosa vibes, like, kind of looking through the windows, and I seen they had this recording studio. And I'm like, wow, there's a podcast. It's a podcast. That's cool. They have all the microphones and everything.
It's like literally so equipped. Like,
yeah.
You see it and it's like, oh, wow, that's professional.
Yeah. So that day I came, I was minding my business, just trying to get my photo shoot done. I invited Sule because...
I did the cake.
Yeah, she did my little cake. And she was just hanging out with us, being a niñera.
Behind the scenes.
Logan.
Behind the scenes.
Watching Logan for me and entertaining him. But before we got to that, when Sule came in, did you still have the cake in your hand? I think you did. And you had the cake in your hands, and you come in, and then you look at the first door, which is the studio, the podcast studio. And I was just kind of looking at her.
Like seeing what I was doing. Like,
yeah, like watching her.
Why is she not coming in?
Yeah. And so then I'm watching her, and she's over here walking with her little cake, and then she picks in, and she looks at me, and she's like... And I knew at that moment we were doing a podcast.
Yeah. I was just like, words did not come out of my mouth.
And she didn't need to say anything, because I knew what she was thinking.
And it was like, let's do a podcast. I'm
Literally.
like, yes! I almost dropped the cake. But no, that did not happen. But she was so excited, and I was like, yes, you read my mind.
Just the way you looked at me, when you had the cake and you turned around and you're like, and I just knew.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
And I'm like, we should start a podcast. I think that's what I said.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's fucking do it. Like, she was so excited.
And then she had a photographer there, Samantha, and then she was just like, what's going on? What are you guys
literally
excited about? And we're like, we're doing a podcast. And she's like, oh my God, yes. And yeah, that's how we were like, okay, let's do a podcast. But we kind of left it, let's do a podcast. And since we're really busy, like over the weekend, we weren't even able to talk about it until one day she came home. She came to my house.
I think it took a few weeks.
Yeah, a few weeks.
Maybe 2-3 weeks after.
Yeah, she came to my house. Why did you go to my house? Just to bother me?
Just to, yeah.
She's mad.
Literally.
But I remember I was putting away groceries, and we were just talking about it. And we're like, okay, Itza, we gotta start now. We gotta start with the name. What do we do? Like, what's gonna be our name? Because we were kind of like, let's kind of make it related to what we both do. She does balloons and I do cakes, so
which
we're
is
like,
not hard to combine because they go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and then we're like, what do we do? And obviously we researched and names, and we're like,
I came up with first before you research. Remember, I told you I was like, because we were like, what are we gonna talk about? like, what are some, like, things that we have in common? And what are we going to talk about? Like, what is it going to be about? Like, we can just come and sit and, like, talk about, I mean, we can talk about anything. But then I was like, well, we should talk about, like, how we're, like, small business owners. And, like, so then I came up with the name Self-Made.
Self-Made, yeah. And I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
But then I think you researched it, and there was already a few, more than a few. There was a lot of self-made podcasts. So then we're like, oh.
And then we kind of looked at it because we're like, okay, what's our podcast going to be about? So we kind of wanted to be like, okay, we're going to talk about our struggles day by day as a business owner. And we'll talk about, like, behind the scenes. We're going to have guests over and be like, okay, we're going to center on that.
And not just the struggles, but, like, also the good. You
good
know, like,
things,
the good about being a business owner and not having a 9-to-5, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a lot of good things when you become, like, when you get in the rhythm, your routine, and you become a business owner. Like, so if you want to start a business, like, we don't want to scare you away and be like, it's so hard.
It's not hard. It's not easy, but it's not impossible.
Yeah.
Like, so, that's our goal. Like, you want to do something, get out there and do it.
So we want to talk about the good, the bad, things that happen to us, you know, like,
and have other guests that don't, I mean, I'm a cake baker and she's a balloon artist, but we want to have every kind of business. So, like, makeup artist.
Once we thought about everything we wanted to talk about, and our experiences, how we became what we are now, we built ourselves from scratch. Literally, we don't come from, you know, rich family that supported us or gave us, like, all of our necessities that we needed to start a business.
Yeah, we all start from the bottom and work our way up to where we are now. Like, we start not knowing anything about
and
the
we're
business.
Nobody. I don't want to say, like, oh, who we are. Like, no.
We famous now. We got podcasts now. We're famous.
But I mean, you're pretty booked. Yeah. I'm pretty booked. And I feel like as a small business owners, that's what you want. Yeah. Busy and booked. We're hella busy. I don't even know how we're fitting time into our week to
do a podcast
and do this. But we're committed. We're going to do it. And we want you guys just to know, like, the back scenes, like, what it really is just to be a normal person, you know, a normal, like, married girl, mama, married girl, business owner, you know, like, what it takes. We're going to talk about literally what it takes. Yeah. And, like, the things that we miss out on, but also the things that we've gained from being a business owner, you know, and building yourself from scratch.
Yeah.
So that's where the name came up. And then you came up with the I don't know, your head just went. It's just funny how I can just tell what you're thinking. Like,
yeah, I don't know. And then when we said, okay, it's going to be built from scratch. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be us two. And then in my mind, I was still like wanting to incorporate, like, okay, I'm a cake person and she's a balloon person. I was like, there has to be something on our little logo or something that represents us both. So I was just like, okay, I thought of a cupcake getting pulled away by a balloon.
And at first, I wasn't feeling it. At first, I was like, no, let's just do it. I was like, I don't mind. I don't have to have, but I'm like, girl, like, I need to be away from balloons. But at first, I was like, I don't mind not having a balloon. I'm like, we can do something different. But then once you, like, explained it, like, no, like a little cupcake and a little
with cherries. She came up with the cherries because I had no idea what cherries.
I came up with it. I just felt like the cherry on top. Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, you know. But she did great doing the two little cherries.
Oh yeah, Monica. We have our little branding person that we love so much. She's gonna be in the next episode.
And she did this.
And she did this. She created the logo. She created the logo. She did the drawing. She hand drew the drawing.
Yeah.
The drawing.
The drawing.
She hand drew the drawing. No, she created the cupcake and put the cherries on top. Like, the cherries are perfect.
We did get to choose, and we did have our input and, like, the colors, and because my girl over here is like all neutral aesthetic vibe, and I'm like, girl, look how pale.
Let's get a little bit of funk in here.
I'm like, we need color. And red is one of my favorite colors, so I was like, cherry. We need cherry.
The cherry on top. But yeah, that's
how we
That's
came
all.
up. That's
All
how
out
we-
of nowhere. Like, we didn't plan it for years, for months. Like, it was out of nowhere.
I want to say maybe a month. Like, it just happened that we both had the thought when we came in here.
Yeah.
And seen this.
We synced. Like,
We literally did.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's do it. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
So that's how we came up with
Built from scratch.
Built from Scratch. The reason behind it is because that's what we have in common. So we don't have a lot of things in common, but being business owners, entrepreneurs, you know,
That's
the life.
what we have in common.
So we can talk about that. We do have a lot of friends that are very supportive, and I can't wait to have them all here.
Yeah.
And speak to all of them.
Yeah, because most of them, I talk for Itza. She's a mom, and she's a business owner, and she's a wife, and she's on it every day. Every time I call her, just kind of like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm busy. I'll call you right back. Oh, I'm busy. I gotta go take the kids. Oh, I'm busy. I'm picking up the kids. I'm going to the grocery stores. Oh, I need to go buy some balloons. Like, every time she's on it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, girl.
And you only sleeping like
I only sleep. I'm sleeping beauty on my
8
end.
minutes. No, when you're working.
Well, yeah. When it's time to work, I struggle on managing my time, and sometimes I even get 8 minutes of sleep
But we get it done
on the weekend. Yeah, but we get it done.
And that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about like how we get it done and the things that it takes to get whatever we're doing, whether you're an event planner, baker, whatever type of business you're doing.
And I'm not exaggerating when I say I got 8 minutes of sleep.
And I'm pretty sure all of our guests can relate.
Yeah.
Can relate to us and talk about what it takes to be a business owner. We should definitely have another episode like
talking more
in
about
depth.
each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to have topics. There's topics of every kind of situations, and along the episodes as we go, we're going to keep talking about ourselves and getting to know new people.
Yeah. So please stay tuned, and thank you for being patient with us. We're learning.
We hope you like this.
And we'll see you from the next
Keep
episode.
watching us. Remember to like and subscribe and comment, and
Everything.
I'm excited. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Why did I say thank you?
For watching.
Oh.